A lot of popular business advice actually sucks. Today I'm ranking the worst business advice out there for beginners, ranging from mildly problematic to this will actually ruin your life, no exaggeration. So let me tell you what to do instead, starting with number one. All right, so the first one I have personal beef with, and it is passive income is king. And you hear this all the time in online business, even on YouTube. I feel like I get this comment sometimes where people are like, oh, you shouldn't recommend freelancing because freelancing is trading time for money, which is not the best way to make money. Passive income is better. I think what a lot of gurus that sell passive income solutions don't tell you is that making passive income requires a lot of pre-existing knowledge or skills to make it work. I have one of the most quintessential passive income products, an online course, and I can tell you it is nothing close to free money. Like, my team and I spend hours and hours and hours every single week doing product fulfillment, managing the community, making sure students are happy, not to mention the traffic side of it. All of that costs tons of time, tons of money. It's not just you create a PDF or a course or a workshop and then people magically show up and they're gonna buy it. So realistically, most beginners probably need to build some expertise by offering one-on-one services first, aka freelancing, aka a job. You're not trading time for money, you're trading time for learning, and most importantly, developing and investing into your biggest asset, which is you. So working one-on-one clients gives you instant market research. You figure out exactly what people are struggling with. You hear their pain points directly, which is so valuable. And if your service is super good, guess what you can do later? You can turn it into a product and do passive income based off of what you learned from your services. So yes, passive income can be a great way to decouple your time from your money, but you must build expertise before you can do that. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes of passive income businesses to make them seem effortless, but they are not effortless. If someone's telling you it's super easy, don't believe them. Tell them Dea said don't believe it. Don't do that. I don't want to get in trouble. So do this instead. If you are a beginner, start offering one-on-one services that grow your skills and pay attention to what solution works best and pay attention to what the problems of the person you're looking to serve are. Because that is all foundation for building a passive income business later if that is what you want to do. So we are putting passive income as king into the double red flag category because I have seen firsthand friends fall into this issue where they believe that passive income businesses are easier to build and they sink tons of money and time and energy into making it work. And then when it doesn't work as easily as people are promised that it is, they think something is wrong with them when nothing is wrong with them. So here's a real life example from my life. So I freelanced for more than 5 years as a digital business manager. So trading time for money, right? Selling services. I was helping clients launch all kinds of products and services, helping clients scale from 5 figures to 7 figures, helping them hire, manage, train their team members from all over the world. All of that was to build expertise and skills. And then I started getting lots of questions about like, hey, how did you learn how to do what you do? Like, what does a digital business manager do exactly? Do you have anything where you could teach it? Do you have any workshops? And then I was like, maybe I could package this into some sort of curriculum that guides people through everything that I have learned over 5 years of working one-on-one with clients. And that's when I created one of my products, my signature program, DBM Bootcamp. We teach project management, team management, systems management, everything in a structured way based on what I learned trading my time for learning. You may not be able to create a product that is truly differentiated, specific, and deeply addresses the pain point of the person you're looking to solve just because that depth of knowledge isn't there yet. And I'm saying yet because you can still build that. You can do the passive income thing later, right? After you have built some one-on-one investment into yourself, essentially. Next piece of bad business advice, be consistent every single day. And this is kind of like a subtle bad advice because I feel like oftentimes it's given as a blanket statement to be like, you have to be consistent posting on every single thing. The reality is you don't need to. Also, realistically, you can't be consistent with every single thing in your business, which is sometimes what I think this advice is insinuating is that, you need to be posting 3 times a week on LinkedIn, 3 times a week on X, 3 times a week on Threads, 3 times a week on Instagram. You need to be sending 3 emails every single week. You need to be consistent on all of that. And if you fail, then you are a bad business owner. You don't deserve what you have. You're lazy, you're losing momentum. The point of business is not to do everything perfectly as fast as possible. The point of business is to do the right things. By the way, I have a whole video talking about the one thing. It was amazing for my business. I highly recommend it. Pick the thing that will have the highest leverage to get you to where you want to go and just commit to being consistent with that one thing. Always shoot for less than what you think you can realistically do. This is the easiest way to build momentum because it gives you a quick win all the time. So when I first started creating my first digital product, I was freelancing full time, so I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of energy. I made a 15-minute commitment. I said every single day, Daya, you're going to do minimum 15 minutes. If you do minimum 15 minutes, you will have succeeded. You will have won that day. And that is what I held myself to, because 15 minutes to me is like so doable. That is how you create a streak of like, oh my gosh, I've like worked on my business every single day for a month and I'm feeling really good, and now it's a habit and now I can just continue. So shoot for less. Do not shoot for like these crazy goals that make you feel suffocated and overwhelmed the second anything else in your life happens. So be consistent every single day. Yes, obviously consistent input equals most of the time consistent output. I'm not saying consistency is bad. I'm just saying, so the but is trying to be consistent and forcing yourself to be consistent every single day will trap you into a perfection burnout cycle, which I'm sure many of you have been in. So focus on your one thing, the thing that will give you the most results for your business, and set a realistic goal that you can actually stick with. That is what I wish I would have done from the beginning of my business, instead of doing these little cycles of like, oh my god, I'm gonna do everything, oh my gosh, I didn't do everything, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do everything, oh my gosh, I didn't do everything, I feel so bad about myself, blah, 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 blah. So we're putting that into the double red flag category, because that will for sure, and it has for sure in the past, ruined my business. All right, the next one is about finding your niche ASAP. I feel like there's a lot of discourse online about how you need to find your niche before you can begin, and if you don't have the perfect niche, it's not worth beginning. Most of the time what happens with niching is you find your niche only by trying a bunch of things and then connecting the dots. You get data by trying things out, by trying this out, by trying that out, and being like, oh, I like that, or I hated that, oh, this was kind of interesting, or this part of that was interesting. How can we expect beginners to magically know their niche before they've even begun trying anything? Niching is good, and if you spread yourself super thin and try to do everything forever, you will not build expertise or credibility or stand out in any area. But trying to commit to a niche or finding a niche or making a niche a necessary prerequisite to beginning is a waste of time and money and energy, in my opinion. So do this. Try a bunch of stuff. Then look for patterns in what you're good at and what you enjoy. In the beginning, when I started freelancing, when I started thinking about building a business of my own, I was like, I have no idea what to offer. Maybe I'll just apply to anything on Upwork that I can learn via Google. And then I tried everything. I was like, ooh, voiceovers, that's kind of interesting. I have a voice, I can speak words, I can do that. I could try translating. Ooh, like Photoshop, I played with that in middle school. I could probably Photoshop some stuff out of the backgrounds of stuff for you. Oh, I like blogs and organization. I can help somebody organize their blog and publish blog posts. Oh, I kind of like the idea of managing someone's podcast. I could definitely do that as well. Ooh, I would love to project plan your new course or your new digital product. That sounds fun. Sure, I can help you hire someone if you want my help hiring someone. I can make the job description. Sure, I'm curious about systems. I really like creating systems personally. I can help you with that. And all of that, once I looked back at all the things that I liked about all the things I tried, I connected the dots and I was like, oh my gosh, I think what I like is freelance digital business management. That is how it happened. I did not receive a map where I was like, oh, here's the map, here's the path. I'm just gonna follow the path to where I'm trying to go. I had no clue where I was going. So find your niche ASAP, I think I would put in the one flag category, because I think it's mildly problematic because it keeps a lot of beginners stuck. But I don't think it's the end of the world, because I think you're still taking action and trying to figure out your niche. All right, next one. I have so much beef with this. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, I have to calm down. This advice is winners outwork everyone. And you might have seen different formats of this advice being passed around, you know, hustle and grind. Max had a desktop background that was like self-discipline or self-regret. Your choice. You know, this kind of like shamey, hustle bro-y language. I hate this advice. Winners outwork everyone, because one, it's not true. Outworking shouldn't be the goal, because just because you're working doesn't mean you're working on the right things, the most strategic things. Two, business is a mega long game. Business is a game of keeping yourself in the game as long as possible. If you burn yourself out by trying to outwork everybody else, you cannot stay in the game long enough to play the long game. Then you're playing the short game. That's not what we're doing. Also, most importantly, what's the point of building and having your own business if you have no free time, no hobbies, no joy, no peace, and you destroyed all your relationships in the process? What's the point of business if you cannot take Friday afternoon off and work on your crochet top and watch some TV in the background and have your little matcha. Again, it's not about how long or hard you work or how busy you are or the fact that you have 500 calls on your calendar or that you literally have no time to sleep or breathe. It is about investing your time into the highest leverage tasks. And if you keep yourself so busy every single day, you have no time to think about the big picture of your business and to figure out what the high leverage tasks are. So yes, some seasons of your business and life will be more intense and you might have to work harder than other seasons. But the goal should never be to just work harder than everyone else. It's about working smarter on the right things, not harder on everything. So do this. Figure out your one thing. Watch my last video if you have no idea what I'm talking about and go all in on that thing in a sustainable way for you. It is your job to keep the biggest asset of your business happy because you are your number one employee. So we are putting that. This is the first piece of advice that's going in our triple red flag category because it will ruin your business and your life. And I mean, we see this all the time that business owners get caught chasing in the hamster wheel and then end up burning down their businesses. And they're like, I actually hate what I built. I built a monster. And I love this quote from Cal Newport's book, Slow Productivity. To work without change or rest all year would have seemed unusual to most of our ancestors. Seasonality was deeply ingrained in the human experience. So do not force yourself to, first of all, always operate at peak productivity, whatever that means, and measure your self-worth by productivity because your self-worth has nothing to do with your productivity, and to be consistent with that productivity year round. It's not real. That's not a real standard. The next one is to optimize solely for more money. And I feel like this is kind of the default understanding in business oftentimes because obviously you need money to run a successful business, but we get into this habit of thinking more money is always the goal. More is always better. Like you should always be scaling. You should not be happy with what you have. You should not stop. You should not pause. You should not be satisfied. You should always be trying to get more. More money, more customers, more traffic, more power, more followers. Oh, I'm starting to be hungry. I hope you can't hear my stomach. And in my experience, that's just not true. More is not always better. There has to be a point at some point when you look at the situation, you're like, what is enough? What would be enough for me to live a happy, peaceful life that I am delighted by and to have a business that people love working in and that serves its customers and their customers are delighted. It also, when you optimize solely for money, is really bad, honestly, for business because it destroys trust with your audience because you care more about making money than solving their problems and creating a genuinely great product. Money is a byproduct of creating good products, creating good services, of caring about the customer, about solving their problems genuinely. Money is not the thing you should optimize for because money comes if you optimize for other things like the customer, like the product. And I personally also think money is not the true currency in business. Trust is the true currency in business. In my business, I optimize always for trust. I'm always like, what will build the most trust and what will ensure that I don't lose the trust of the audience because that is the most precious thing to me. Another reason this can be really dangerous advice is it destroys you because you lose sight of everything else. You lose sight of the context of money and you only try to focus on making money, which means you might end up not optimizing for your happiness, for your free time, for your mental peace, which arguably for a lot of us is more important than hitting some arbitrary number. So yes, obviously businesses need to be profitable. They need to make money. If my business didn't make any money, I couldn't pay my team. I couldn't make these free YouTube videos. I couldn't live my life. I couldn't invest time and energy into the things that I want to invest it in this business. So obviously money is important, but you shouldn't put profit over everything. It destroys you. It destroys customer trust. If you're always chasing more, you never arrive. You never allow yourself a moment to be like, wow, this is really cool. I can't believe I've made it here. Think about what is actually enough. What would be enough followers? What would be enough money? What would be enough money to live a really comfortable, happy life? So do this. Try optimizing for building trust instead. I really think this is revolutionary, if I do say so myself. If your only goal was to build as much trust as possible with your customers, with your leads, with your audience, what would you do? Another quote from Cal Newport's book, we've become so used to the idea that the only reward for getting better is moving toward higher income and increased responsibilities that we forget that the fruits of pursuing quality can also be harvested in the form of a more sustainable lifestyle. This is exactly what I mean. You don't need to reward yourself for working hard by working harder. That's not a good reward, in my opinion. Your reward for working hard and getting to where you are now can just be you've built a cool lifestyle and you can slow down a little. You can take some things off your plate. So that one we're putting into our triple red flag category. Will destroy everything in its path if you are not careful. Right, next one is kind of like a sneakier one. The advice is to follow your passion. This is kind of a nuanced one because yes, following your passion can be important and can be a good indicator of what business to start. But the truth of the matter is, and I think this is the first principle we have to accept, is in business, what the market wants, demand, supply, is more often important than what you're deeply passionate about. And this is only in the context of business, of course. If you're like, but Dea, I just want to do what I want to do. Please do what you want to do. I'm talking about business specifically. And that is why I always talk about validation. Validation is extremely important in business. You have to validate your idea, your product, your service before you spend tons and tons and tons of money and time and energy building a humongous business that's not validated. That's not how it works. Also, love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life is a lie. Also, I love what I do. I'm so grateful for what I do, but I work all the time. There are a lot of things I don't want to do in my business, okay? So yes, obviously you shouldn't hate what you do. That's not what we're trying to do. I'm not telling you to ignore your passion, ignore your interests, ignore what you like. Often passion can be useful to drive a business because if you're passionate about something, you will obviously be more passionate about it and then work harder at it and speak more truthfully, and it'll be easier to build trust with the audience. But you cannot solely make business decisions based only on what's fun and exciting for you. You have to build in-demand skills or products and solve real problems for people first. That's the foundation. And the ideal situation is you find what the market wants and what you love, and you search in this overlap. I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you cannot just look at these are the things I love and interest me, and this is what I'm going to build my business on. No, you have to overlap it with this is what the market needs and wants, and this is what the market has a problem that they're willing to pay money to solve. And then in that little Venn diagram overlap, that is the sweet spot. I'm sorry, that was kind of brutal. I didn't know how else to say it. That was not kind of brutal. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. I'm going to put this in the double red flag because I think it can easily ruin businesses. And I've seen this happen often where people get so caught up in the passion of it that they forget to validate their idea or product or service is one that the market wants, which is not what I want for you. I want you to build a successful business. I want you to invest your time and energy into a good idea. And actually, we have a video coming out about how to validate your product, idea, and business or service. So watch out for that if that's what you're stuck on. But yeah. And we just had to put this meme here because, yeah, of course we did. So here's the real life example, right? Back to my freelancing journey, right? In the beginning, when I was trying a bunch of random things, I was not really passionate about any of it. I was just like, I'm curious, let's see. Curiosity is a very powerful thing, by the way. And I was just trying a bunch of things. And then as I started working with clients, they started telling me things like, oh, I really need help with this. I'm really struggling with this. All of these things was me starting to realize what clients need because I was in contact with them. They were telling me their problems. I was trying to come up with solutions for them. That was me getting feedback from the market, essentially. And then slowly from there, I overlapped it what I learned I really like. And I found the match between me being passionate about something and solving client problems. So from Cal Newport's book, So Good That They Can't Ignore You, he talks about how passion comes after you put in the hard work to become excellent at something valuable, not before. And I think that's also something that beginners get stuck at sometimes. It's like they think that they have to be deeply passionate before they can begin something. And if they're not deeply passionate and that passion isn't the thing that's driving them forward, then it's not worth pursuing. But the reality is oftentimes you only become passionate once you're kind of good at something. Once you've like invested enough time and energy into something to be like, wait, I'm kind of good at this. Now I'm like excited because I'm good at it, you know? So next one. Oh, I have so much beef with I have beef with so many things. Charge your worth. This piece of advice I feel like is the reason a lot of beginners do not land clients is because their pricing is not based on anything and they get caught in this like charge your worth thinking. I have so many things to say about why I hate charge your worth as a saying. Number one, I think charge your worth makes people think that their value as a human can be quantified into a monetary amount. Like my worth is $20 an hour. And I think the issue that creates is then people take rejection of their offers, their products, their services, their hourly rates personally. They think, oh, if you say no to $50 an hour, then I'm not worth $50 an hour. Instead of, oh, the service or the offer I'm presenting to you and communicating to you, to the market, isn't worth $50 an hour. And I know that happens often in business because business, despite what we want it to be, is deeply personal when you're self-employed. But what I'm saying is you cannot attach those two things together. They are completely separate things. When somebody says no to an offer, to a service, to a product that you are presenting to them, they are not saying no to you. Your worth is inherent to you, infinite. Nobody can take this away from you. You can fix the offer. And that creates an issue because then your pricing foundations is not based on anything from the market, from the client, from research. It's based on a random number that you made up. So yes, it's important to charge what your service or product is worth. And there, your pricing has to have the foundation in the market, in what you're hearing from clients, in being validated step by step with clients. So instead, what I always say is to start at a price point that you feel more or less comfortable with. It can be a little bit lower. I started a little bit lower than I was comfortable with just because I was like, I want to get the first few clients so that I can validate, get the testimonials, and then increase your price point every step of the way. That is price validating with the market, right? That is confirming the market is happy to pay and willing to pay the rate that you are bringing to the table. There's no magic pricing formula or number that anyone can give you. Like, I feel like a lot of times beginners also ask me like, how much should I charge for da-da-da? I don't know. It's so contextual. It's so subjective. It's so dependent on you. The best way to figure out your pricing is to figure it out with the market and with clients. Start a little lower, sign the client. Once you sign the client, increase it by 20%. I do that with all of my products or services. Big companies like Apple, Nike, they do tons of pricing research, tons of pricing testing to figure out what price points customers are happy with. They don't just go in the lab, make up a fake number, and then say, okay, if you want the thing, you have to pay for it. No, I would put it in the double red flag category because I have also seen a lot of beginners never land any clients because of this one. Next one. If you build it, they will come. The biggest lie ever in business. Building a great product or service is only like 20% of the work. And I'm really sorry to say that. I was very devastated when I found out. 80% of the work is getting people to actually know you exist and to engage with you and be curious and to go down your sales funnel and eventually buy. And I know you might be thinking like, Dea, this is kind of duh. Like, obviously you need to do this. But I still see a lot of beginner business owners come up with good products or services. Also freelancers come up with great services. And then they're like, when are the clients going to show up? They're not going to show up. You have to go to them. It's your job to drive traffic when you have a business. It's your job to get people to notice you, to show up, to engage with you, to build trust with you. Every successful business owner I know is obsessed with traffic generation. They're not sitting around waiting for people to magically show up. So yes, obviously you do have to build a brilliant product or service, but it will die in silence without traffic if you're not serious about traffic. A traffic system is something that you work on weekly that drives consistent traffic. It's not something you do once or twice. It needs to be something that is systematized in your business, that you figure out where the best traffic comes from and how to best nurture that traffic. And then you create something repeatable, a process to ensure that this continues. If you currently are still looking for more revenue, more clients, of course. Once you're like booked out, let's say as a freelancer, maybe your traffic system can slow down, right? I still like to keep the traffic system going because it's nice to build a wait list and to like have a backlog of people that you can swap in for other clients and stuff like that. But in general, a traffic system is non-negotiable if you are self-employed. So do this. Traffic generation isn't optional. It's a core function of any business. You have to deliberately build paths that lead people to your door and then keep optimizing those paths forever. That one, we're doing double red flag because it will ruin your business if you do not focus on traffic and learn about traffic and figure out your traffic system as a business. The next piece of bad advice I feel like that has happened more recently is the obsession with being a personal brand, being a content creator, being an influencer, but that the personal brand is more important than everything else. And I think the issue here is I think when you hyper-focus on personal brand, it makes you think about yourself rather than focusing on the audience and the audience's problem. It creates like this me-centric system. Your customers care about solutions to their problems, not your personal story or your Instagram aesthetic. Yet, they might care about that once they figure out how you fit into their picture, but it's your job to fit into their picture first. It's not their job to figure out how they fit into your picture, if you know what I mean. And also very important, having lots of followers, having a huge following online doesn't always mean you're making tons of money. There are a lot of influencers, content creators out there who are not making any amount of money because they haven't figured out how to truly understand what the audience needs, what the audience wants, and to create solutions that solve their problems. So obviously, yes, it helps to have a personal brand and to build a personal brand, but don't let building a personal brand become an excuse to avoid the work you really need to do to understand the audience and customer and their problems. What should you do? Focus on serving first. The serving mindset is one of the most underrated amazing things in business. I feel like people who are empathetic, who can understand other people very well, who can focus on giving, who can focus on building trust, those are the people that win the long game of business. So this one we're putting in the one flag. I think it's problematic, but you'll probably be fine because you'll probably find your way regardless. Now, if you like this video, you'll also like my video about the one thing where I talk exactly about how to narrow down and find the highest leverage things to do in your business that will actually drive results instead of just forcing yourself to do everything perfectly, consistently, forever. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Okay.